Hey guys, Richard here with eBike Reviews and Adventures. Well, I want to talk to you today about the Zora bike, the Zora Felix. Now, I've had this for a few weeks, and we haven't been able to get out and do a review on it yet. But I have been riding it, and I've been enjoying it a lot. So I want to talk to you a little bit about it. And I thank Zora Bike for sending this over to me. So let's get into the review. Okay guys, with any bike, there are things I like and things that I don't care for. And we're just going to jump into it, and I'll share a few things with you. And you know, I like this one too. I say that a lot about the bikes that I get, that I really like them, because there are things that I really like about them. And I think this is no exception. There are some things on this bike that I think are just great. And I've really enjoyed riding it and get to know it. One of its best features is that it is a dual suspension, okay? So we got a 4-bar dual rear suspension there, and that works so well. And I'm going to tell you the second best thing about this bike, and that's the price, because this is considered a budget bike, okay? In my mind, this would be considered a budget bike. And if you can get a budget bike that performs as well as what this one has been performing, that is a dual suspension that you can take off-road and get a little rough with it, then I think that's just amazing. So let's just get into it here and take a look. So from the front up here, we'll take a look at the tires. So we do have 20x4 fat tires, and these have some really aggressive knobs on here. I mean, really aggressive. And I like that it has these mag rims right here instead of spokes, because that just adds to the stability of the entire wheel. But there is something I think could be improved, and that is the tires themselves. They are Innova brand, and I'm going to tell you right here, guys, I have had 2 flats with this bike. I had a flat after taking it off-road, and I put slime in it, and thought it was repaired. A couple days later, it was flat again. So I added more slime, and that seemed to have fixed it, okay? Thank goodness for slime, because this tire has not given me any more trouble after that. So that's a great thing. Now, going back up here, we do have these spring-loaded suspension forks, and you can lock those out so you can adjust and decide how much spring you want on the front end right there. We do have a small LED headlight that is integrated. You do have a place up here to connect a front basket if you should want one. And the cable management is really good. They've got everything wrapped really nice and tight, and even put on this neoprene wrap around that as well. And so it looks really sharp. Now guys, look up here. This is an interesting thing they did. This bike is folding, okay? So not only is it an off-road bike, it folds down there, and you can fold the stem down, but not just that. Look up here. You can adjust this stem easily right here for taller riders. So this bike will accommodate some really tall folks because you can raise this up quite a bit. And so, you know, to find that really good, comfortable riding position for you. I really like that about this bike. Now let's move on up here into the cockpit area. And these are pretty standard, you know, the leather wrap handle grips right here. They got a little bit of a palm rest on them, which is always more comfortable than not having one. You have a display right here, which is pretty typical. And then over here, you do have a thumb throttle and your SIS 7-speed shifter on this side right here. I will tell you that this has 5 pedal assist settings. Now moving on back towards the rear of the bike, we're gonna come down here, and right inside the tube here is where the battery sits, and this is a 14 amp hour battery, so it's gonna give you pretty good range. And I like that it has this little built-in handle here. It makes it easier to grab the bike when you're trying to fold it up. We do have a quick release latch right here for the seat post. And let's talk about the seat for a minute, because this is a little better than standard seats that you would normally get on e-bikes. One, it is really thick, and it's got a pretty good amount of cushion to it. And it does have the little springs in the back right there that kind of adds to the comfort of the ride. Down here, the pedals do fold up in case you are trying to store this in a tight space. And moving on back here, we'll take a look at the rear end. There we have the Shimano derailleur, which has been working okay. I haven't had any trouble. I didn't need to adjust it or anything out of the box. That's another thing. Let's stop right here, guys. Getting this out of the box was nice and simple because it was already assembled. The front wheel was on, the pedals were on, the seat was on, everything was ready to go. It was just folded up. So all I had to do was unfold it, cut off the tags, charge the battery, and I was ready to go. And I think that is just awesome when they're able to do that. Moving on back around here, we do have a rack on the back, which is pretty sturdy. I've had a few things on there that I've been hauling around. And we do have the fenders are plastic, and you know, they're a little floppy there, but You know, for what you're paying for this bike, it's a no-brainer, guys. It's just a really good value. Now, here's one thing that I wished was improved, and that is the rear tail light right here is not integrated with the battery, okay? And that's kind of a bummer for me, because I do like to ride these out on the road, not just trail riding. But now, if you think of it, this bike is designed for trail riding, so you don't necessarily need lights, right? And with that, I will share with you that this bike does come with some mirrors, although I didn't include these mirrors because I primarily wanted to use it for off-road, and I don't want mirrors on the bike for that. So, but it does come with them. And we're just going to move around on this side of the bike and get you a look over here. Almost everything's the same, right? And of course, this bike, I've been using it a lot, guys. And so I got some mud spatter all over here because I've really had this thing off-road and been kind of shredding the woods with it, having a good time. We do have mechanical disc brakes, and it would have been nice if they had been hydraulic, but you know what? Mechanical disc brakes, that's fine too. They do a pretty good job. The rear brakes are quite noisy, and I've had to adjust them a few times, and they could be a little bit better, but the front brakes work great. Now, another thing I wanted to share with you that you might pick up on in the riding video, or you may not, and that is the 750 watt rear hub motor back here. It's got 80 Newton meters of torque, which is a pretty good amount of torque. I mean, it does fine for off-roading, but that motor, guys, is super quiet. I mean, when you're going down the road, I don't hear the motor at all. What I hear is the road noise from the tires, but I don't hear that motor. And I wished all e-bikes came with a motor that was that quiet. And we're talking about this motor and how quiet it is, and I'm out here on the side of a country road and I keep getting traffic going by, so I apologize for the road noise from there. But yeah, let's see, what else can I tell you about this? So this is a little strange. The keys for the battery is right down here underneath the bottom, which is kind of different. Normally they're on the side. But I will tell you about this latch right here. It is pretty easy to operate, and the hinge operates smoothly, okay? It's not like you're fighting that hinge at all. It's a nice smooth operation when you're folding and unfolding. But this is a heavy bike, and so, you know, I just don't have a need to fold, so I don't mess with it. All right, I'm gonna show you some riding videos. I'm gonna take it for a spin. We're gonna talk about some more things. Hey guys, at the end of this video, I'm gonna show you the off-road clips where my buddy Rick and I took it off-road, and we took it up to a park that we like to go to. And so I'm gonna show you some of those clips. So be sure to stick around for that, and you'll hear some of our comments about how well that trip went. But for now, let's just get out on the road and do some riding. All right, guys, so you can see, I don't know how much you can see on camera, but at 6'1", it's a nice riding position that I have right here. And these handlebars aren't even raised up very far. Woo. They can go a lot higher. So if you're a taller person, you know, you can raise those handlebars up a pretty good distance still. And I believe the seat, where I have the seat positioned, there's plenty of room there for us to raise it up too. So the top speed on this bike, they say, is 25 miles per hour, and with my riding conditions, body weight and everything, I've had it up to 23. The battery is down to getting close to 50%, so I'm probably not going to get that top speed now, but it's still doing a good job for me. And here's something that is good to know. You can adjust the settings of the pedal assist for each speed. So if you want to adjust your speed of, you know, pedal assist 1 or pedal assist 2, you can do that. And that was necessary because when we first took this bike out on trail, my buddy Rick and I, pedal assist 1 was geared just a little too high for some of those really tight hairpin turns that we were riding on. So we were constantly hitting the throttle and hitting the brake, hitting the throttle, hitting the brake. But once we got that adjusted, you know, pedal assist 1 now is a lot lower. Let's just go through here. Let's cut through here. And we'll just stop right here real quick. You can hear those brakes when they start screaming at you. I'm just going to go ahead and hit the throttle and show you the speed we got going on here. So we're at 0. This is going to be throttle only. And there's 7, 8, 10. There's 11, 12, 14, 16, 18, 19, 20, 21. And we're going to probably only top out at 21 and a half. Because like I said, the battery's down to 50%. So that's something good to know. Now, as far as pedaling, I'm in 7th gear right now. And this is a smaller chainring on the front. If I'm not mistaken, it's like a 46 tooth. And so it could be better. We'll jump it up to past 5 and just see how I can go. So if I really put effort into trying to keep my legs spinning, there's 21. There's 22. And there's about to hit 23. Yeah, about 22 and a half is about all I can do spinning my legs. But, you know, it is what it is. So I don't remember if I already mentioned the price. So let's talk about that for a second, because when you compare this bike, you look at its features and you look at how it performs. You can't compare it to, you know, something like a $2,500 bike that maybe I just received recently, right? It's just not fair to do that, because this bike isn't made to be a $2,500 bike. So it's not going to have all the features. That's why we have mechanical disc brakes. You know, that's why we have maybe slightly less quality for the tires. We still have the same shifters. The display is okay. It's pretty basic, but there's nothing wrong with it. The buttons are easy to manipulate. So I don't have any problems with the display at all. You know, it is a 750 watt motor, like I mentioned. Oh, let's do that. Do you hear the motor? I'll stop pedaling. I mean, this camera is real sensitive, so it's designed to pick up my voice when the camera's mounted on my chest. So it's sensitive to other noises. So yes, you're probably going to hear the motor, you know, whining out there just a little bit. But for me as the rider, sitting here on top of the motor, I barely hear the motor at all. And what I do hear is just a little bit of noise coming from the tires, and that's slight. And honestly, the biggest noise that I'm dealing with is just the wind noise, you know, blowing past my ears. There's just a lot of wind noise, and that's what I hear. So I really like that about this motor. So you can almost sneak up on someone if you needed to, which I think is way cool. So back to the price. Comparing it for how it's designed and what you get, I think it's outstanding at $1,150. Now, on the website, I think they have it advertised like $14.99, which if you've been shopping for bikes and you've been comparing bikes and features and prices, you kind of learn what is a good deal and what's not a good deal. You know, as consumers, we pick up on those kind of things. And I can tell you, they have a discount code on their website that automatically brings the price down to $1,150 if you enter in that discount code. So look for that. So I can kind of tend to think that this is one of those companies that probably keep their stuff on a permanent sale. It's just always on sale. And I've been wanting to do a video about that, and I'm going to do a video soon talking about different companies and how they price their products. But some companies like to keep it on just a permanent sale all the time to make it look like it's on sale, but in reality, the price is, you know, is whatever it is, and in this case, it's $1,150, and that is just a really good price for a dual suspension, you know, 20x4 fat tires, 750 watt motor, 80 newton meters of torque. Oh my goodness, you know, super quiet motor. This bike's got nice pep, so it handles so well. It's well balanced, 14 amp hour battery, so not the biggest battery you can get on the market, but certainly not the smallest either. So 14 amp hour, I think that's a good middle ground, and I think it's really good, again, for the price. I'm gonna just stay on the sidewalk here because we're allowed to. Zip around here. gonna cut through the grass here. We got this little lake over here that's drying up, this little pond, and I like going through here sometimes. I don't take all my bikes through here because it's just too uncomfortable. But a dual suspension bike like this one, yeah, that's no problem. This ground is not smooth and flat. It is really rough. And we're just gliding right through it with no problems at all. That is just one of the things I enjoy about this bike. There's somebody on the sidewalk, so we're going to go around. We're just going to cut through here because, again, with a dual suspension bike, we can. Nice and smooth. Oh, that was a big bump, though. Nice and smooth, and takes us right through the grass without any problems. So, yeah. So I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to, I think it's time to show you some of those clips from some of the video footage from when my buddy Rick and I took it off-road, and that way you can hear some of his thoughts and hear some of my thoughts when we first got the bike, and you'll hear what we have to say. And so I'm going to go ahead and leave that for you right here.